Hey guys, you're listening to the Be Bold, Be Birmingham podcast. We are here to dance to the beat of Brum's drum, to sing the soul of our city. Now, Birmingham 2022 is round the corner and we are ready to show the world what a vibrant, diverse and exciting place Birmingham is. I am your host, Melzy J, a presenter from Birmingham, and I have my lovely Ben here. How are you?
Yeah, doing good, thank you. That was
Had a nice weekend?
Very nice weekend, yeah.
Yeah,
doing good.
Great.
Nice to see you.
So this is probably one of my most exciting episodes ever. I don't know whether it is for you as well.
Tell us what it is.
It's going to be all about food, glorious food. In Birmingham, of course, one of the best places for food. So who I have next to me is Jack Brabant. He launched the Digbeth Dining Club in 2012, one of my favourite spots in Digbeth. How are you, Jack?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
And I've also got Laura Bite Your Brum, West Midlands food blogger who has turned her passion into a profession. How are you, Laura?
I'm smashing. Thank you for asking.
I'm so excited to speak to you guys today because I am a big foodie. I love all kinds of food.
It's probably true to say that quite a lot of our issues have our episodes have derailed and we've ended up just talking about food anyway. Yeah. We had Andy Munro on a couple of weeks back, and he was on about the Balti, and we kind of find a way to channel it into food regularly. So this is a treat.
Have you considered starting a food blog?
I would love to start a food blog because I like to cook. I genuinely love to cook. I do a little bit of online bits and bobs. So you're going to have to come round for dinner, Laura.
I'm 100% down for that.
Cook you some rice and peas and chicken.
That's actually one of my favourite things in the whole world, so I'm down for that.
Me too. Now, according to Travel Mag, Birmingham is the best place for food. Is this true or false, Laura?
I think it's one of the best cities, definitely in the UK, for food. We've got one of the most eclectic and diverse food scenes, ranging from street food all the way up to, we've got the most Michelin star restaurants outside of London. I think Birmingham sometimes has the reputation that it's sitting slightly behind Manchester and obviously behind London, but I actually disagree with that entirely at the moment and think, especially coming out of COVID, we've got a really strong food scene.
Interesting. What about yourself, Jack? Do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, it's been well established, certainly in our time since we've been in operation, that Birmingham's got a fantastic food scene. It's been celebrated for a long time. I think this is just it's great to come out of COVID and see this sort of recognition that's coming through. But I think it's really good when what I've seen, though, personally, what's coming through is that even with the pandemic happening, there's a fantastic independent scene happening across the city. You're seeing in a lot of the suburbs of the city, there's a growing independent restaurant scene coming through, which is fantastic, and I love, and certainly me and my wife have started to enjoy exploring again.
I feel like sometimes though it's hard if you don't know where the good food spots are in Birmingham. You just don't know. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's where people like me come in. Yay!
Bite your brum!
Yay! No, I think one of the things that's actually great about the Birmingham food scene is we do have a lot of what you would call hidden gems. But I think it's about encouraging people to get out and explore their local communities, not just the city centre of Birmingham. I think, like Jack said, there's some great stuff happening in and around the suburbs, like Sturchley's thriving at the moment as well. King's Heath's getting better and better all the time. And I think it's just about encouraging people to go out and explore and look for new and different things, which is kind of why I started Bite Your Brum years ago anyway, was though I couldn't see anything particularly online from other people that weren't newspapers or, local newspapers talking about where there was to go and eat. And I knew there was so much better than what was being shown.
Yeah.
The local paper talking about a new Nando's opening is not exciting, whereas I think if you've got a good stream of people who are out there looking for new places and want to shout about them, I think that can only be a good thing.
Well, 100%. I mean, you're on over 20,000 followers on Instagram. So that's quite a lot of people following you in terms of like just for a food page. I mean, I'd be dribbling if I followed all of those pages, because I tend to look at those pages late at night at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's it.
And drool over food
With the fridge.
With the fridge with nothing in there.
Yeah.
I think it's probably true to say as well, going back on a point that you guys made a second ago, coming out of lockdown, which was obviously really difficult for everyone, but especially the hospitality industry, do you think it's true to say that smaller independent restaurants and bars were able to adapt quickly to the times? I know some of the work you've done with Digbeth Dining Club sort of helped vendors to adapt and survive something which maybe bigger groups maybe would struggle.
Sure. I mean, like, you know, we, from a personal level, like, you know, we were, I think we were able to turn on the sixpence during the pandemic. So, you know, I think compared to a lot of larger scale businesses within hospitality, it was a far harder thing because of leases and all that sort of stuff going on. Again, just going back to the independent scene that's in Birmingham, it's, you know, there has, you know, it's been a flourish from it. And I think they're taking on these empty spaces that have been left from around the city and are utilising that to, you know, to turn out some great stuff. And, you know, it's great. I mean, I could name, you know, loads off the top of my head if we really wanted to, but we'd probably be here all night right now. Yeah. But it's a really good sign for the city. I think, you know, we've got something to celebrate here. I think, you know, and it's great that it's happening in various locations, and I'm going to keep on repeating that, but it's good because it shows that it's not just centralised anymore. Right. You know,
Digbeth Dining Club.
I mean,
to give that as a.
I mean, we're an example. I mean, you know, we're not necessarily, we're not in our old HQ as we were before pandemic. Because of the pandemic, we felt we wanted to go somewhere larger. It was a plan anyway for the future anyway, because we were hitting capacity and it was becoming a little bit uncomfortable, shall we say. Yeah. So, but we've taken the opportunity to open new things. So we've opened in Hockley, we've opened Hockley Social Club, and we're just about to open up in Longbridge. And these are all places that we feel like, you know, deserve to have something to showcase. Massively. And we've seen it with Hockley over the last 6 months. It's really coming into its own. It's becoming a fantastic place to hang out. And we've been operating market style events in Longbridge for about 5 years now. Yeah. That's a really exciting one because we really feel like, you know, Longbridge is a place that deserves to have something that's going to make it a great place. Yeah. And then we hope to, you know, template that across, you know, in more places so we can do it more for the future. Brilliant.
And I think what I really loved about the Digbeth Dining Club, sorry, because I'm a big foodie and I love food.
You can talk about food in this episode without apologising.
Can I not eat food on this episode?
You didn't bring any food. This was an error.
It was a big error on your part, Laura. A big error.
Yeah, it's my bad. Sorry.
Digbeth Dining Club for me was like such a good vibe. It was just good energy. There was lights. It was this warehouse feel.
Still is.
Do you know what I mean? There was different like things that I could eat. I just didn't know what to eat. I was just spoiled for choice.
That's what we've tried to do, but we're doing it in different places as well. Yeah, so we're doing it across. So we are coming back to Digbeth eventually, but we wanted to find the right site that would actually fit what we want to do, so we can make it bigger and better.
I actually love Hockley Social Club.
Me too.
I really do love it.
That's it. It's the Hockley Social Club personally is a passion project for myself and James, who's my business partner. Something that we wanted to create where it was like a cool, more adult environment, but you got good selection of food. We've got a record shop in there doing a Japanese listening bar. It's all like, you know, it's all just a nice flow where you can have a relaxed night and actually be guaranteed a seat. Yeah. So that was a big thing. That was the big thing that we used to get. So it was like, this one is about seating as well.
That's really good. And I actually went upstairs into the record shop in the Digbeth Dining Club when you had it. And it was just so cool, like seeing the records and everyone's just like really, really friendly. Did you want to kind of create that environment which was just open for everybody? Yeah,
that was always the case. It was always a place to showcase the independent spirit. That's what we've always tried to champion in this city, giving people the platform, because we're not the ones who are actually doing the cooking or putting the record shop on, but we'll be able to give people the platform and to get it out there to make it a celebration. And we've really seen that, you know, we've seen, especially within the street food industry, we've seen some fantastic chefs come through our books and, you know, and go on to succeed. And we've seen several restaurants opened off the back of working with us. You know, I can think of Original Patty Men, The Meat Shack. You know, you've got Baked in Brick downstairs, and you know, many more across the Midlands and in the UK as well. So it's been great. It's been great to see that, seeing these people come through and actually go, if they want to go into bricks and mortar, they've had that ability.
Can you give us a little, like a brief breakdown of how Digbeth Dining Club kind of happened. What's the journey? I know there was a conversation with you and a certain guy called Mark. That's as much as I know. I imagine there was a
in my earlier years, I used to run a video production company. So and Mark and I used to travel to London mainly to film street food. That's the rise of street food, shall we say? Yeah. It's a bit of a punk scene almost back in those days, which was very exciting, very engaging, and we used to come back to Birmingham, there was nothing here, and so after many a drunken nights, boring the pants off people talking about street food and having no clue what we were talking about, going, what the hell is street food?
Because a lot of people think street food's just like a burger van, right? Or
well, like that was the misconception before.
Of course.
That was a misconception before, but there was, and I think this is where we're in similar sort of areas where we are now. Street food, as it is known in the UK, was born out of the last crash in 2008. Right. So it was, people weren't able to get into restaurants. They needed an outlet, and they had some talented people who needed an outlet. They did this was on the streets. They found random locations, warehouses, abandoned car parks, text people on Twitter saying, I'm here right now. There's various things like that. And we wanted to bring that essence to Birmingham. And when we approached the Rainbow, who owned Spotlight, us coming to them going, we want to create a street food nightclub, which was a completely alien concept. They thought we were mad, but still gave us the chance to take it. And that was, 8 years of working together, which went from us begging our friends to come down to thousands of people coming through every weekend.
And it's one of the biggest events in the UK.
Yeah, so we operate about 20 to 30 sites now across the Midlands. Amazing. But we also want to give people, again, it goes back to giving people a platform to show what they're doing, and we feel like we can do that. And what Laura does and other food bloggers do is what they're really they're going out there and getting these people the limelight they deserve in some of these cases, like restaurants, street food traders. We've seen it all.
Yeah, I think as well, it's like there's a lot of people who've had residencies at Digbeth Dining Club who have gone on to become really popular and moved on to other things. And there's that's such an important thing. A lot of them owe their half of them have probably bought houses off the back of the fact that they've had this opportunity. I still think you should put them all in some kind of jousting ring and let them
to be honest, when they've annoyed me, I've been tempted to do more than that. So
I think that's a really good point. And and also there's probably a position before that where the idea of somebody who's stuck in a job they don't like and they love cooking, well, they can't just go and rent a restaurant and book and get staff and get waiters and get and suddenly with the sort of wave of street food and the success in the scene of street food, maybe that's actually achievable. And then you get people who start doing things on the side, it picks up, they quit their job, then it picks up even more, and then maybe they get a restaurant, and that street food kind of is a key that unlocks a whole different profession.
A person who is a prime example of that, who's now at Hockley, is James of Codwarry. Now, he and I don't know how, but we ended up chatting on Instagram one day during lockdown 1. The one where everyone went a bit mad. Because you couldn't do anything. And that was before the at-home box thing had kicked in and people were still a bit like, I don't know what to do. And we got chatting and he was going, I think I'm going to start doing this kind of ramen kits. And I was like, that's really cool. And he's basically from where my husband's from, and that's how we ended up getting talking. But then it all happened so fast for him. He was doing these at-home kits. I tried a few, bought a few. I thought they were brilliant. And then when he messaged me one day and said, "You won't believe it. I've got in I was like, that's amazing for you. Congratulations." Yeah, and that happened really quickly for him. And had lockdown not happened, that avenue for him probably wouldn't have arrived in the same way.
I think, with James, when he runs Codwarry, which is his take on Japanese food, and his wife's Japanese, he's celebrated it. He quit his job from Jaguar Land Rover to go and set this all up. He's probably one of our newer traders, but because we believed in his product so much and the variety and the diversity of food that he wanted to bring through he wanted to do Japanese tapas. We thought it was a great fit for what we were trying to do at Hockley. So it doesn't matter on the longevity side. If we think you've got the talent, we'll always give someone the opportunity.
There's a parallel here, Laura, with you and Bite Your Brum, because Bite Your Brum started off as a passion project, and now it's your career, right?
Part of it, yeah. So I started Bite Your Brum in spring 2017, so quite a long time ago. And as I said earlier, I mainly set it up out of, I went looking for food recommendations of independent places, and it actually ended up happening that I'd been at one of the events at the Bond, one of the street food events at the Bond, and there was so much great stuff there, and I'd gone looking before, and no one was writing about it, no one was talking about it, and I thought, there's so many people who'd love to eat this stuff, and they're just not even knowing it's there. And I kept saying to people, I'm going to this event, do you want to come with me? It's only a couple of quid to get in. And people were leaving going, oh my God, I've just eaten some of the best food I've ever had in Birmingham. In the back of basically a wedding venue, out the back by a canal, which no one knew about. And I went home, and again, a bit pissed, a bit drunk, sorry, said to my husband, do you know what? I'm just going to do it. No one else is doing it. I'll do it, fine. And I had a job in PR. So I was writing for other people and not writing for myself. And I thought, well, this is a good way to get back into writing something I care about for myself. And I honestly didn't think anybody would care about it. It was mainly going to be a diary of just deliciousness. Yeah. That, you know, my mum would probably look at once a month and go, woo, as mums tend to do. And yeah, I worked really hard on it, and I didn't know anyone. I went out and made friends, and I tried to write with passion and care, and I tried to go out and find new things and make it different to what other people were already talking about and writing about, more established places that already existed. And and that was 4 something years ago. And obviously then lockdown happened, and everything went weird, and I literally was just in the best point things had been for me. I'd just won an award. I was taking on a little bit of copywriting for food people, and I basically went on. I got furloughed, and it went on, and I thought, oh God, you know what? This job's not going to come back. And then when it did, and I got the call to say come back on furlough, I was absolutely devastated, because I realised how long I'd probably not been wanting to do that job for. And I made a decision that could be, some would call it naive or silly. Risky would be a better word. I knew that I could use the skills I had from previous jobs. So I've been a journalist, I've been a copywriter, I've been a PR person, I've done marketing. I knew I had the skills, and I knew a lot of people now who I'd worked a lot with for free during lockdown. I helped a lot of people with their marketing, and I came up with ideas for people, and I tried my best to help in what was a really rubbish time. And I thought, why not just do something for yourself instead of always trying to do something to please everything? I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take a chance on myself. So I went freelance, and I'm a copywriter and communications sort of lass now. But I do predominantly, all of my clients are based in food. So I actually get to now write about stuff that I care about.
So if you was to write a piece about food, then what would be like an opening sentence? It's delicious.
Marks and Spencer advert.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Give me something, Laura. Give me something.
I always try and I think at the end of the day, it's food blogging. So I think you've got to have a sense of humour about it. I think if you try and take these things too seriously, you lose the fun factor in it. So I always try and have an opener, which usually about how I ended up where I ended up. So if I have an embarrassing story about, so like there's one place I found because I fell down some stairs, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, that was a nice way to get to that. But like I think it's about making them engaging. I always try and take lots of pictures, and I try and talk about price points, because I think that's really important for people. You know, what one person can afford, another person might think is ridiculous. And I'm a big fan of, I like a £1 slice of pizza from a little cabin on the corner as much as I do like going to the amazing Michelin places we have. I think it's about offering variety and choice, and making sure people understand that there is, whatever the budget you have, there are great independent things happening across the city. There's a guy who sells really good Caribbean food out the back of a car in Chinatown as well.
Who is that?
Yeah,
Why
you have
to
to
know who
it's
that
mad.
person is.
You have to text a number.
What?
And then he gives
that's
you
the guerrilla sort of marketing I like.
Yeah.
I can buy into that.
You text a WhatsApp number I don't know, I always think you might, like, you do feel like I might collect this and I might not come home, I don't know, but you text a WhatsApp number and there's basically, he cooks like 4 things, and then you tell him what you want and how much you want of it, and then he gives you a time, and if you try and say, no, I can't be there at that time, he's like, well, then you can't have it. And
That's
I quite
amazing.
enjoy it. It's just
that.
delightfully insane, isn't it? I love it. Birmingham's really good for having like kind of a thing on a random street that you wouldn't expect. Like, so Sturchley is obviously now just a street full of lovely things. Whereas I live over by Brindley Place, and there's a place called Mellows.
Yes,
Right, so Mellows is on a random road.
Yes.
It makes no sense why it's
sense.
there.
Yeah.
There's no parking.
Yeah.
And it's this gorgeous, glamorous Caribbean
Bean
restaurant.
restaurant,
The food's amazing. The people who work there are great. People are like, why have you set that like
so far
it's
away?
just such a weird. It's like right by Cineworld.
Yeah.
It's really
it's like
weird
down
setup.
like a side road, isn't it?
Yeah, but like the girls who go there on a Friday night are dressed like they're going to go to the club, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I always walk past it and think, this is just such a delightfully weird spot for like such a great thing.
But
it almost should be in the mailbox or something. It's
Something
kind of like.
But I feel like, again, like the smaller companies find it difficult to get those city centre locations because they get taken up by obviously bigger companies. But Mellows was nominated for the same award as Digbeth Dining Club at the NBCC Awards over the weekend. Digbeth Dining Club won. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Whoop, whoop. But again, it just showcases like, you know, there's a level of standard within Birmingham, and you could be down a back street. If you've got decent food and good customer service and some good drinks, people will come from wherever to go and
That's
get
how
that.
I found it. I was looking for a flat, and I went to view a flat, and I was like, oh, this looks nice, I'm going to come back here later, and I did, and it was great. So like, that's what I mean, it's just finding the different things.
I think along those lines, I mean, one of my favourite things about that you see in Birmingham, especially down the Black Country as well, is all the desi pubs.
Oh, yeah.
That's the, you know, it's like because my wife's Indian anyway, so we love a desi, the desi pub, and like they are in some of the most random locations.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously you see near to us there's Hen and Chickens, but you go, the best one for me is down in Soho in the back roads in Soho Tavern.
Yeah, I love Soho.
I mean, and that's like, you know, such a, for, you know, you see stuff like that, and I think it's great seeing these old pubs that probably would have gone out of use, repurposed.
Absolutely.
They've got football on, they've got good beer, and they've got great grills going on. It's just like they're some of the best things I've seen. It's probably my favourite thing that I've ever in the city.
We mentioned briefly about this awards,
NBCC Awards.
which you had something to do with that, did
Yes, I was hosting the red carpet.
Oof, nice.
Looking fabulous.
But Digbeth Dining Club won an award for the CIC, right?
Yeah.
Can
So
we talk a little bit about that?
The CIC came into proper fruition early this year.
So that's CIC is
Community interest company. So we wanted to diversify it from the main company. It was, I think, you know, back in October, it was the Marcus Rashford free school meals thing, and again another drunken online rant.
I remember it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just you know, like seeing that, you know, I think it'd be very difficult not to be moved by what Marcus did, and I think he inspired a lot of people. And I just remember sitting around a table with my family, saying, you know what, I really feel like we can do something. We've got traders in you know, around the place that we've got the resources to do this. And I put a message out online. Woke up the next day going, oh no, I've got to do something.
Made life difficult for myself.
No, but you know what? It was great. I mean, so we decided to do something. But, you know, people were calling me. You know, we had the opportunity to work with down in Northfield, which is one of the worst affected areas. That, you know, they have the highest proportion of people on free school meals in the whole of the UK. But, you know, we thought, you know what, because we've got roots in Longbridge, this felt like a good place to start. We also did something in Coventry, we worked with the local MPs over there to get something off the ground. And I think, you know, in the space of a week, we raised £40,000, and
One week.
Between Coventry and Birmingham, and with the money, and we were just going to try and do it for the half term to get food. We had the likes of Gymshark come in, Grenade, bars, everything. We had loads of people chipping in, helping Dishoom, all helping. So we had right diversity of food and culture coming in, so everything was catered for. And it just sort of progressed from there, and you know, we carried on doing it till February, and I was like, well, I think we should set up a CIC so we could do stuff. And then we worked with the likes of Birmingham City Council and Sandwell Council to to do it. We ended up we're now up to about 200,000 meals that we've done in the last year, feeding people.
That's amazing.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, and we had previous partnership with Aston Villa.
Yeah.
So we're working with the foundation. We've created a course where we can get people in deprived areas, especially in places like North Birmingham and Aston and stuff like that, which to give them the opportunity, if they want to get into hospitality, we're going to give them all tools and the life skills to do it, so they have all the courses. So they don't have to necessarily go into street food, but they'll have the tools, they'll have the knowledge if they wanted to set up their own businesses, which I don't think is always taught.
No.
Yeah.
And it's going further, yeah. I mean, it's been great. I mean, we're working, we're looking at, 2022 is looking to do even more stuff, and especially centred around different areas of the city. So we're in every suburb now, either doing food or doing, cooking courses online.
Jack, that's amazing.
I feel like something that you definitely said about your CIC is teaching children how to cook. I feel like it's such an important skill, not only for women, but for men as well. Yeah. That you're able to cook a nutritious meal. I've come from like a Caribbean background, so like all of my aunties cook something great. One's a baker, one does the coleslaw, one does the meat, one does the rice and peas. Big dinners are just amazing. Do you know what I mean? So I've always kind of been around cooking food, and I was excited to cook food. And I'll tell you a little bit of a story actually. When I went to university, a lot of people just had chicken and chips because they didn't really know what to cook. So on a Sunday, I'm cooking big rice and peas, jerk chicken, dumplings on the side. So I started up a little business at university.
I love that.
Yes.
It was called like Kitchen 142 because that was the number of my kitchen.
Smart name.
Smart name. And we literally went out into the market, bought a big massive Dutch pot, which I still have till this day, cooked like a big pot of food, rice, dumplings. I had one of my PR friends who was studying PR at the time. She'd be knocking doors, handing out leaflets. I had like a sous chef. I had a person serving. I just knew I was destined for greatness. But it was very, very tiring. Like once you've cooked all of the food, you've served everybody, you don't really want to eat because you've been around it all. It was a lot. But it definitely enabled me to cook for much more people. And going back to your point about teaching young children how to cook, it's such an invaluable, skill to have growing up.
I think, you look at what Jamie Oliver did a few years ago, and we joked about it, but I think, we've seen it, especially now, and as I've grown up, you can't poo-poo the fact that, we have some health problems. So one of the key things that we're trying to do is to teach how to cook nutritional meals, on a budget as well. And we're doing it on a budget because that's what's important. What you could see what he was trying to do years ago was showing people like, you can have great tasty food, on a budget and do it healthily.
Yeah.
I think that's key. I mean, that's what's been the next key thing.
Absolutely.
What's coming up in the future for DDC CIC?
Well, we've got the course that we start with Aston Villa. We're working with Southend City College, with the Nationwide Catering Association and Aston Villa's Foundation. We're doing an initial run of 36 students over the next 6 months. If it's successful, we hope to roll that out. Yeah. We've got some things in the pipeline where we can put that further across the Midlands as well.
Awesome.
Under a sort of bigger education programme. Some of the things we're looking at. It's just working with the likes of councils to try and like and Birmingham and Sandwell, Wolverhampton, whoever, to use what we've got, because the whole thing is we haven't got through this pandemic as well, and it's also giving trade, people in the local areas, which traders are, the ability to give back to their local communities as well. So that's what, when we did it over the summer, when we were feeding it, a lot of the people were already based there, so we were shipping food out that was actually cooked locally and understood the food demographic, because this goes back. It goes back to diversity of the city. You've got different pockets of everything, and not every bit of food is going to be the same. And I think you need to reflect that in everything you're doing, and having that local knowledge rather than a national company coming and going like, well, this is what we're going to do, and not catering for the people of the city. Is what we're trying to do. So we're working on local level, and actually the money's that is being invested back into the local community.
Yeah.
And just talking about the local community, obviously hospitality has really been hit during lockdown, and obviously Laura, you go and eat so many places. How do you feel like the food shortages are going to maybe affect companies moving forward?
don't know.
Cool.
No, I think people have learnt to adapt, haven't they?
Right.
Like, I know there was at one point when everything reopened where you'd start going out for dinner again and they'd be like, oh yeah, but you can't have this or this, and we haven't got any of that, and I've got 2 of them left. And you just sort of had to roll with the punches a little bit with it. I know there's a few places, especially the kind of little smaller cafes and stuff, who've ended up going, do you know what, we're not going to open Mondays, Tuesdays anymore.
Right.
Or there's a place I know in town who've been struggling to get certain types of fish, but their predominant thing they sell is fish. So they're kind of struggling with trying to maintain the
what puts them on the map.
what puts them on the map versus what they can get their hands on at the moment.
What do you think Birmingham needs in terms of like people going out, eating, food, entertainment? What do you think?
I relentlessly try and encourage people to use their restaurants on other days that are not Fridays and Saturdays, because there are so many great places. And grant you, Mondays in Birmingham are a little bit.
Oh, it's a nightmare to get. It's like literally, it's slim pickings.
Yeah. So one, I'd like people to open things on Mondays,
so Laura can go out and eat, guys.
But yeah, I think more like I'm really big on saying to people, don't just think about your restaurants for use on a Friday and a Saturday when there's already people spending money in them. Like, split the love around a little bit. You know, there's certain places where I think, you know, that would be a great place to take friends on a Tuesday night rather than have to compete at the bar with a load of other people. I think people can use their time a bit more wisely, and in turn you'll probably end up using your money a bit more wisely as well.
So Jack, I need to know from both of you. Jack, you go first. Top 3 restaurants, top 3 spots. You can choose your own if you want to, because you've got several.
Well, I think there's Eat Vietnam in Birmingham.
Great shout.
It's one of my all-time.
Where's that, sorry?
Eat Vietnam is in Sturchley. Ming, who runs it, is probably one of the most talented people I've ever known. You know, he's been a fashion shop, he's been a DJ, and then he decided, you know, he wanted to open up an authentic Vietnamese restaurant. And for me, it's one of the best spots to hang out. You know, they're a great team. It's definitely worth the visit.
Number 2.
I'm going to say Hockey Social Club. I think, you know, it's, you know,
It's
my own,
but
the food is outstanding. You know, we've got some of the best. We've got different roasts. We've got Andy does this amazing Sunday roast, and
oh
now
my
we've
God,
got
I had that 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So
it's insane.
I was looking for a Sunday roast on Sunday and we could not.
Oh,
it's
not even like a normal Sunday roast, is it? It's like elevated to this absurd
So now,
level.
but now
Sunday
Kodawari's introduced his Japanese take on a roast. So you've got Japanese flavours with a roast. So this is the new one.
I'll
that
take you
we've
to
got coming
Hockey
in.
Social. We'll go and have a nice day.
Please come down. Come down. Number 3.
Third one.
Ooh.
You can't say your own business at this point.
No. I'm gonna go for O'Feem.
I was going to say
taking one of mine.
I'm gonna go. So if you're gonna go fancy for the Michelin star, I mean, like, we've got some fantastic Michelin star restaurants. Carter's is deserves a 2-star. But O'Feem, I love Indian food. You know, my wife is Indian.
Okay.
And you know, I eat Indian food all the time. We have Gujarati food quite a lot. It's but to have something elevated that you have as a home cooking like that, and it's just outstanding. You know, you think Birmingham is famous for the Balti. We've got Andy,
indeed,
with his book. But just elevating it to another level like that is just fantastic. And I think, you know, I've been lucky to go a few times now, and I went prior to getting a star, and now he's got a star. It's just, I think, you know, we're going to see that elevated again.
That sounds so cool. Laura, Bite Your Brum.
Well, he's stolen one of mine, and I've already said one of mine earlier on.
So you need to pick 3 new ones.
Okay, so I'm going to go, I think I'm saying this right, Tropea in Harborne. They're doing like Italian kind of low-key comfort food, and it's really good.
The way you guys explain food is like hilarious, like elevate low-key food. I'm with you.
I'm a copywriter. Can you tell?
I haven't mentioned casual today. I'm quite proud of it. I'll never mention it now, but I didn't mention casual.
I had a really, really, really brilliant meal at Oyster Club 2 weeks ago, and they
sell oysters.
They do sell oysters.
Okay,
they do. It's obviously predominantly fish and seafood, but they do lots of other things. But it's great if you want a bit of a bougie lunch, champagne. It makes you feel very sassy and special. So my third, I'm trying to think of something dead casual.
Think of something that's your top 3.
I genuinely have a load. This is the problem. It's so hard because I have so many, and I love things like I love the roast dinner at the Wolf, and it's just a lovely place to spend a couple of hours. And I think when people think about where your favourite place for dinner, it has to be fancy or it has to be this.
No,
and actually, it's about where you feel comfortable and where
makes you feel,
like where I love going. For example, the Wolf on a Sunday, couple of beers. They play great music. You know, you can play board games. It's just lovely. It's just a really
vibes.
chilled vibe place. It's one of my favourites.
It's good, great.
I love that. That's a good top 3 there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So one last question, of course. What makes Birmingham bold, Jack?
I don't think people are scared to try things here. I think, you know, it's touted around about it being one of the youngest cities in Europe. But, you know, as we've talked about today, it's got a fantastic independent scene. And we're seeing that more and more. And I think that's why it's bold, because people are willing to have a go and give it a go.
I love that. And yourself, Laura, what makes Birmingham bold?
You can't say your cottage pie.
Oh, well, then I'm leaving.
/chef.
I think everybody who isn't from Birmingham underestimates Birmingham, and they underestimate the people from Birmingham. And that is a massive mistake, because some of the most creative, clever and vibrant people I know are born and bred here and are doing really, really good things. And I think what makes Birmingham bold is the kind of the courage people have in going after what they want and making it happen for their, like Jack, making it happen for your community and trying to just be better and be stronger moving forward, especially after the last 18 months.
100%. And I just feel like the Commonwealth Games coming next year, like, it's going to be huge for, like, restaurants, new spots, hospitality in general. It's just going to be a real big buzz.
I think it might make people as well think outside the box with food, because, for example, like, you know, if it makes someone go and eat Malaysian food in Birmingham who's never even thought about it, you know, there's some great stuff happening, like Lisa and Pan's in the Pig and Tail in the Jewellery Quarter. Total hidden away nothingness that people would take for granted of being there, and it's great. So I hope the kind of cultural side of it with food gets seen, and people go out of their way maybe to go out and think outside the box a little bit more about what they're eating and what they're looking for.
Definitely. It's been such a pleasure having you guys today talking about food.
Is anyone else like super hungry now?
I'm all right.
So hungry.
I had a massive bowl of ramen before I came.
That's smart.
I'm trying not to think about food.
I will take you to Hockley Social.
No, and I will take you up on that offer.
Yeah, no,
like,
totally.
100%. Like,
yeah.
I'm like the biggest foodie ever, so I'm always looking for new people to go and eat food with.
They do like the best espresso martini in the record shop as well. So you can listen to old records and drink espresso martini.
It feels like podcast-wise, this is like a fade out. You know, when a band are just like jamming at the end. And it's like but yeah.
Thank you so much, Jack and Laura, for joining me today. Please go and access Be Bold, Be Birmingham on the Birmingham City Council website, where you can get all of the episodes. Tell your nan, tell your mum, tell your brother, tell everybody, and make sure you tell everybody that Birmingham has the best spots for food.